Good morning, I'm Probal.
And this is Sudebi from India. We are presenting Marketplace, the Site of Learning. Many cities in India seem to be not just one, but many cities or sub-cities coming together, fighting and adjusting with each other, while negotiating, manipulating, reciprocating with each other, creating a unique complexity. These multiplicities often occur due to the existing diversities and the rapid changes the cities have undergone due to rapid urbanization, migration, gentrification, and sometimes reverse migration. Markets play a major role in how the cities have been shaped. Hence, in order to understand any multi-layered city, it becomes crucial to understand the atlases of the marketplaces.
In a way, the markets act as centers, which hold layers of wisdom, culture, history, memory, alternative voices, and peripheral narratives. One of the ways decolonization of knowledge happens is by recognizing markets as archives of wisdom with infinite pedagogical possibilities and therefore not limiting them as just centers of financial transactions.
In this presentation, we would like to share stories from three different facilitated learning units where foundation year students or freshers from both design and non-design schools were taken through a unique journey to question their ways of seeing a place and its people, to understand the many contexts of the settlements and identify the many relationships and interactions that bind people together in a city. This was done in the context of old marketplaces in the heart of the city or local marketplaces. For the design students, one of the units looked at using game as a space to understand a marketplace in the heart of the city of Bangalore, especially in one of the oldest marketplaces where new structures like metro stations had been constructed. The tensions and the relationships that were overlapping between the new and the old were fascinating to explore. The other unit was about exploring and making sense of the many worlds that coexist in the same marketplace called chickpetting and creating games with the learning from the research on the communities inhabiting and interacting in the marketplaces and their practices. Throughout both these units, either design was used as a methodology to construct learning experiences using the elements of play, or the principles of play were used as tools to learn design. They also explored traditional games and other games to understand how a game space works. The third unit was for non-design students, where the idea was to know the city of Ahmedabad and its places and spaces better through exploration of local marketplaces and creation of map books in the form of foldables that a visitor in the city would find helpful. This would be their ways of interpreting heritage, both tangible and intangible, that often are overlooked.
In all the three units, the learners, through the research-led process, try to understand whether communities make a market or markets create communities. Do practices define communities or communities shape their practices in the context of a market? In a way, the market became a site of myriad pedagogical possibilities. Along with an immersion into these sites, using various playful exercises, one of the purposes was to contemplate on what is the difference between seeing and thinking that one has seen something. There were lots of exercises to initiate the processes of observation and understanding one's own biases, conditioning, and positions while observing. There were conversations around seeing, looking, assumptions, and imaginations. Simple techniques for getting initiated into ethnographic and other approaches were used to design their experiences. Students also began to maintain a sensory, non-linear documentation of their observations in the form of handmade journals. While doing this, they were exposed to different paper folding techniques to convey meaning while maintaining the journal. Students went to a marketplace and identified elements of it and mapped them, and later went and talked to people. It was a process of understanding cartography, where the map was not just about the position but disposition.
It was a search for the many versions of a marketplace and the perspectives that could help make sense of the many worlds that coexist there. In the juxtaposition of design and play, as both process and purpose, the learners were facilitated to be designers who constructed their own learning by locating and constructing narratives from different contexts, tinkered with ideas, insights, and inspirations playfully explored places and spaces, understood about people and processes, and used different modes of storytelling in order to share their journey about the market. The processes were immersive, experiential, participatory, where knowledge and skills were built into characters, objects, and environments. The processes were also social, enabling the learners to enter into other people's lives, encouraging them to think laterally, do problem solving or conflict resolution in playful and creative manners. Through this process, transfer of learning also happened. There were many questions which shaped the inquiries in these units, where oral history and life stories were used as pedagogical tools of contextual observation, analysis, reflection, interpretation, and storytelling. Mediated by orality, the design of learning delved into the socio-cultural, historical dimensions of a context.
This process of mediated, self-directed learning eventually was a journey of abductive sense-making and layered storytelling, where sometimes game was used as a space to understand the complexity of the marketplace or the many spaces that it holds. Through the process of designing a game from ideas to artifacts, or by playfully maintaining journals, they learned how to imagine, create, explore, map, think, question, find patterns, and navigate between the parts of the whole in the marketplace. The work in all of these units could fall under categories such as inside and outside, market and its functionalities, market as a teacher, market as an organism, market and festivals, market of markets. The games were created either for people visiting the market to know about hidden aspects of the market, understanding the ecosystem of the markets, the knowledge of sustainability or regenerative practices, communities and their layered histories, and the politics with places, seasonality, and the notions of local and global, the different relationships and insights that could be learned from the market. There were shifts from viewing the market as a commodity to community, product to process, competition to collaboration as the learners delved into the unknown stories of the marketplaces to find about the struggles, inspirations, despair, and motivations. Most importantly, it was a revelation in time where online markets or big supermarkets dominate, insights around how people could bond over a market and how a market binds people, practices, places, and moreover perspectives together.
Through the creation of the map books around local marketplaces, a lot was revealed too. For example, some students chose to explore the road which has markets just outside their college. Their journey turned out to be one that not just showed how little they knew about the apparent known, but gave them life lessons. The interactions with the ordinary gave extraordinary insights and philosophy of life acquired from the vendors on that street. Their map book indeed played with the folds, where each fold, when opened up new ways of thinking and looking at the world, revealed through the conversations of the ordinary people who earn a living on that road. On the other hand, a group went to a neighborhood which is generally known for high end shopping. The interesting visuals with their details are interspersed with the vanity and superficiality of the modern brands and hidden stories beneath those. The visual chronicle indeed showed an interesting juxtaposition of the hollowness of the so called rich, famous, well known stores, which were depicted through minimal basic shapes and colors, bereft of richness of layers, unlike the richness in terms of narratives and visuals that slowly got added as they shifted towards the not so famous so called ordinary stores where there was care, attention, warmth, and hospitality. The marketplaces indeed turned out to be like an archive waiting to be unraveled as the inquiries became more layered, nuanced, genuine, and complex. Design, research, ethnography, contextual inquiry, oral history, and narrative inquiry, different kinds of methodological inquiries intersected, interconnected, and got interlaid as the sub narratives formed the meta narratives. Through the narratives from the marketplaces, archives got woven with the lived experiences of people who inhabit the city. This led to deeper inquiries into the role that art and design play in creating learning through marketplaces as multi layered texts. Thank you.